Hello, this is Rebecca Lutz, and this is my internal external communications for Mathis Early Learning Center, Module 7. So, our assignment was to sort between internal and external communications throughout our school. When I started this, I started with Canva. Canva's been something that I've been trying to get into. A lot of people at my school use it, so it was something that I was definitely exploring. But as I got to work on it, I realized there just wasn't enough room. So I switched to Creately. But before I started on Creately, I definitely did a rough draft on paper. For some reason, me visually writing it and seeing it on paper was a lot easier for me to comprehend than me seeing it in the digital form right away. So I created a rough draft and then I started putting it into Creately, which this is my first time using it, so I definitely got super frustrated with all the lines, and I know every time I would try and get it, it would go like all the way across the screen or something completely random. So I definitely did get frustrated a lot in this process, but I think I am very pleased with my overall end presentation. Let's see. So how I started was by organizing the publics by internal or external. To me, internal would be anyone that's in the school building, and external would be outside of the school building. So that's how I started. So families has a daily two-way communication. They have it with, they can have daily conversations with PTO, classified staff, certified staff, students, and administration. That can be oral, whether it's a phone call, it can be digital, looking at our social media. I know myself, I update my social media, Facebook, for my families at least weekly with important dates coming up or just something fun that we're doing in the classroom. So I am communicating with them daily on that. And then I also have a communication sheet that goes back and forth between home and school, where if the parents have questions or concerns, they can write on there and then I can get back to them in whichever way I feel necessary. I can reply on the note, I can send them an email, a text, I can call them. Just depending on what the situation is. So families have a two-way communication with a lot of the people. Community groups, I would say, has a good relationship with our administration, our school board, and then our superintendent. So they get one-way communication via Facebook or Twitter. That's generally our school Facebook updates generally once a day. So they get that. And then they get a monthly written newsletter. And then from that newsletter, if they have any questions or concerns, they can reach out via email, via phone call, or even commenting on Facebook. Our PTO used to meet monthly in person, but since COVID, they've started meeting over Zoom. So they meet once a month via Zoom. They also receive, and that can be with families, school board, classified staff, certified staff, volunteers, community groups can also join that. It's open for the public, so anyone who wants to go to those meetings is more than welcome to. I know myself, I post it on my Facebook when it's coming up and reminding, and I also put it on my calendar. So KDSD has conversation or communication with the superintendent, the school board, administration, and certified staff. They also receive one-way communication via social media, so our Facebook or our Twitter, and then written communication, our newsletter as well. Community partners is going to be the same as community groups, so they could communicate with anyone inside of the school building, but they also receive daily one-way communication on Facebook or Twitter, and then monthly newsletters as well. So they can comment on Facebook posts, or they can call the school, email whoever they would like inside of the school. Volunteers. So volunteers could be family members. They could be part of the school board, superintendent, family of the classified or certified staff, just basically anyone that wants to come inside the schools and help. They also receive one-way communication via Facebook and Twitter, and then they get monthly, a monthly newsletter. Law enforcement would work mainly with parties involved if there was a dispute of some sort. And then our superintendent and our school board, and then administration as well. So they have also received the one-way communication of the digital Facebook or Twitter, and then they also get the school newsletters as well. So a lot of these external communications also go into our internal communications. I would say a lot of the communication is a constant, continuous feedback loop. Everyone kind of talks to everyone. We're in a small community, so you have to watch what you say. Our superintendent, so on to internal communication, our superintendent has communication with families, community groups, PTO if need be, KSDE, community partners, volunteers, law enforcement, school board, administration, classified, certified staff, and then also students as well. Also, the superintendent communicates through all publics, and most of the time it's daily or weekly, just depending on kind of what it is. So we have the newsletter, we have the social media, so the Twitter and the Facebook. Orally, he randomly will send out videos, or if we have an important announcement to make, he will send out an automated phone call. So that will go straight to all families and staff of USD 345. So that's a good way to send information out. Our school board is two-way communication. So we used to meet in person, but recently, since COVID, that has changed, and we now meet monthly, and the school board members meet on Zoom, and then they Facebook Live it so that anyone can see it. So the school board communicates with the superintendent, administration, classified staff, certified staff, students, basically all of the publics they communicate with. They also have a website. So they have on their website, they have the agenda for each of the meetings, and then they also have all of the past school board meetings on there as well if you need to go back and watch something. Administration has two-way with the majority of the publics as well. So families, community groups, PTO, KSDE, community partners, volunteers, law enforcement, the superintendent, school boards, classified and certified staff, and then students as well. So I kind of took the administration as our principal, and she definitely has a very open door policy. So if anyone, staff or students, or even families, have a question or have a concern, they can either go into her room, they can email, or they can call her. I know right now parents, if they want to meet with her, can schedule meetings to go in pretty much whenever they want throughout the day. So she is very open with all of her communication. She also is updating our personal MELC Facebook page, is sending newsletters to families and all of the publics. And she comes in and observes staff. So we have a lot of communication, open communication with our principal. Classified staff can have communication with families, PTO, the superintendent, school board, administration, or certified staff. So they also receive the newsletters, the automated phone calls, can see Facebook and Twitter. So they also can pretty much communicate with any of the publics. Certified staff, we definitely have the most interactions with the families. So I know personally, I talk to all of my families at least once a week. We also send home the daily communications or communication sheet. So it says what we're doing that day. And then I will personally write in if we had any problems or if there was a success story that we wanted to celebrate into each of those folders. So I have communication daily with the families via that. I also have a Facebook page that I will update for families to see. And I send home a calendar as well so the parents can see the upcoming important dates. We also meet orally with parents for parent-teacher conferences. This used to be face-to-face, but with COVID right now, we're doing it via Zoom. We have those twice a year. And then we also have IEP meetings, so we have those annually, and we'll talk and meet. Used to be in person as a whole group. Now we just meet on Zoom to discuss their child's IEP and go from there. So last communication is students. So our students have daily two-way communication with classified and certified staff, and then their families as well. So students go, back and forth between being with certified and classified staff to being with their families. So they have communication between both of those. This was something that was hard because I wanted to put students on both sides just because my students are so young. I kind of wanted to put them on external and internal, but then ultimately I decided internal since they are in the school building. Let's see. So the two-way publics that communicate the most and have two-way communication are the families and certified staff, certified and classified staff, families and students, certified staff and students, and classified staff and students. This is daily communication, which is done orally, digitally, and written, depending on the day. Communication really is a continuous feedback loop. Almost everyone is connected in some way in our community, and I believe that the better communication we have, the better off the students are going to be. We are all working together in order to help that student learn and grow and achieve and succeed. So ultimately, we need to have the best communication with everyone in order to do that. Thank you for listening.